The Gaza Peace Plan is out, and most of the Arab world who fought for the cause of Palestine have concurred, and so have others who have historically stood by the idea of a state for Palestine, including India. So where does that leave Gaza, West Bank, the future statehood of Palestine? Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not just congratulate Donald Trump on his so-called Gaza Peace Plan. He rolled out the red carpet of words, tweeting in 7 languages: English, Arabic, Hebrew, Spanish, French, Mandarin, and Russian. That's not routine diplomacy, that's fireworks. In the middle of a devastated Gaza, where more than 60,000 people have been killed and millions displaced, Prime Minister Modi is cheering Trump's 20-point formula as a viable pathway to peace. India, once the loudest global champion of the Palestinians, now sounds like it is celebrating a plan Palestinians themselves are rejecting. Is this Prime Minister Modi's statesmanship, or is this India walking away from the two-state solution it swore by for decades? Does Modi's multi-language applause mean India has quietly abandoned Palestine's dream of statehood? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. The backdrop is explosive. President Trump unveiled his Gaza blueprint on September 29-30th, 2025, with Netanyahu by his side promising ceasefire, reconstruction, and a credible path to Palestinian statehood, though short on guarantees. Prime Minister Modi jumped in instantly, praising Trump as if this was the world's only chance for peace. India's foreign ministry has always proclaimed loyalty to the two-state solution. Yet, the Indian Premier's messaging in 7 languages sends a different signal. If India truly stands by Palestine, why does it sound more enthusiastic about Trump's vision than the Palestinians themselves? Has Prime Minister Modi turned India's historic policy into a diplomatic afterthought? Let's rewind. India's relationship with Palestine is not just about diplomacy, it's about identity. From Nehru's era, India stood shoulder to shoulder with Palestinians, recognizing the PLO in 1974, the State of Palestine in 1988, and voting consistently for their rights at the United Nations.
We are of one mind in our support for the brave, homeless, and much harassed Palestinian people. Israel feels free to commit any outrage, unabashed in its aggression, unrepentant about its transgressions of international law and behavior. But can it forever obstruct the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people?
India condemned Israeli occupation, settlement expansion, and brutality in Gaza. This was not a small stance. It was India's moral voice in the non-aligned movement, its solidarity with the Arab world, and its balance with its own domestic Muslim population. And yet, in 2025, the Prime Minister of India is congratulating Trump in Hebrew and Arabic rather than cautioning him. Has history been shelved for geopolitics? Trump's Gaza plan itself is hardly the grand bargain it pretends to be. Strip it down, and what do you get? A ceasefire, a prisoner swap, a partial Israeli withdrawal, a board of peace led by outsiders, particularly Brits like Tony Blair, and a vague hint at Palestinian self-determination. The fine print screams control, not freedom. Disarm Hamas, accept international supervision, and delay real sovereignty. Palestinians see this not as peace, but as surrender. Let's not miss the drama of the 7 languages. Prime Minister Modi didn't just issue a bland statement in English. He broadcast his support in Arabic to the Arab world, in Hebrew to Israel, in Mandarin to Beijing, in Russian to Moscow, in French and Spanish to global audiences. In fact, he used all the UN languages. This was diplomacy with a megaphone. It was a performance, a calculated alignment with Trump.
It was not called a peace plan. It's called Trump Comprehensive Plan to End the Gaza Conflict. Because wording had a meaning, this is very important. Regarding our official position as a Palestinian, because the title itself have a lot of issue that we can talk about it. But regarding our official position as a Palestinian Liberation Organization, President Abbas and the Palestinian Authority, of course. Um, we used to be very clear from the beginning of this genocidal war 2 years ago. We are welcoming any effort that will end the genocidal textbook war on Gaza, the Israeli genocidal war, the Israeli ongoing slaughtering campaign on Gaza right now. And we will come any effort that will make sure that the humanitarian aid will reach to our people in Gaza. This is our official position long time ago. 2 days ago, President Abbas issued an official position paper on this regard to welcome this, effort or a plan to end the Gaza conflict, so to speak.
But here's the rub. If India was truly neutral, truly committed to the two-state principle, why such enthusiastic theatrics? Why not a simple, cautious welcome? Why this festival of congratulatory words? The answer lies in Modi's strategy. India's walked a fine line for decades, arming Israel, voting for Palestine, and balancing the oil-rich Arab world with the high-tech Israeli economy. But 2025 is different. India is desperate for energy security, for West Asian partnerships, for American goodwill. Trump's Gaza plan gave Modi a stage to show loyalty to Washington. In doing so, Prime Minister Modi risked signaling that India's historical solidarity with Palestine is expendable. Is this pragmatism or betrayal? Can India claim to stand for Palestinian sovereignty while celebrating a plan Palestinians call colonial? Palestinians themselves have been scathing. Ordinary Palestinians took to the streets in protest. They see the board of peace as foreign control, the disarmament clause as humiliation, and the absence of clear statehood guarantees as the death of the two-state vision.
يعني الشعب الفلسطيني لن يقبل انتداب جديد، لن يقبل أن يتنازل عن حقوقه ولن يتنازل عن قانون الدولي. نرفض هذه الخطة.
الناس ما بتستنى بخطة ترامب، الناس تستنى بأنه رب العالمين يتدخل يغير الحال من حال إلى حال أحسن. الناس بدها حرية، بدها عايشة على كرامة، مش عايشة على كوت الدعم المالي أو الجسدي اللي بيقدمه ترامب واللي أصغر من ترامب واللي أعلى من ترامب. وما في أعلى من ترامب إلا رب العالمين بالنسبة على سطح الأرض. الناس ما بدها أوهام، ما بدها حبر على ورق، الناس بدها أفعال على أرض الواقع. والله أنا بدي أقدم لك مساعدة بالحديث، طب وينه على أرض الواقع؟ لا يوجد شيء.
Prime Minister Modi, however, didn't echo these concerns. He didn't demand that Palestine's sovereignty be at the core. He simply congratulated. To Palestinians, that feels like abandonment by a friend who once fought their corner. But here's the irony. India has not officially abandoned the two-state solution. As recently as September 12, 2025, India voted at the UN for the New York Declaration, reaffirming support for an independent Palestinian state. In Parliament, India repeated its line, a negotiated two-state solution is the only path.
Mr. President, this resolution comes against the backdrop of the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza. India is deeply concerned at this deepening humanitarian crisis, and we condemn the loss of civilian lives. I would like to stress that India has always been on the side of peace and humanity. We have repeatedly called for protection of civilians and upholding of humanitarian obligations. We call for safe, sustained, and timely supply of humanitarian assistance to the people of Gaza. On our part, India has always provided humanitarian assistance to the people of Gaza, both bilaterally and through the United Nations. We also believe that release of remaining hostages and a ceasefire are important to ameliorate the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Our collective voice should echo this. India's abiding commitment to dialogue and diplomacy is well known, and we firmly believe that this is the only way forward. Continuing accusations and argumentation hinder the path to peace. India has always supported a negotiated two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine issue, leading to the establishment of a sovereign, independent, and viable state of Palestine, living within secure and recognized borders, side by side, in peace with Israel. For this, we need to work towards creating conditions for early resumption of direct.
Yet Modi's tweet storm, with its glowing praise of Trump, tells a different story. The world doesn't pass UN votes. It reads Modi's posts in 7 languages. Optics matter. And right now, the optics scream that India has shifted from champion of Palestine to cheerleader of Trump's unilateralism. Let's remember why the two-state solution mattered to India. It was not just a principle, it was a survival strategy. India has millions of citizens working in the Gulf. They are dependent on Arab goodwill. India needs steady oil from West Asia. It cannot afford to alienate Arab capitals by siding blindly with Israel or America. But wait, the Arab world has shifted. They've completely agreed and accepted this plan, which means they are complicit. So India's balancing act works, and it has worked. While India welcomed President Trump's Gaza Peace Plan, there were other countries who were quite cautious in welcoming the plan. The EU said it was the best chance for a ceasefire. Arab states said it was a step forward but not the end. Prime Minister Modi, on the other hand, amplified it to the world in 7 tongues, with phrases like viable pathway to long-term peace. He made India sound more enthusiastic than Washington itself. When leaders go that far, they're not just supporting peace, they are shaping perceptions. And the perception is that India is moving away from its historic Palestinian stance. While the Palestinian Authority has accepted this plan, it is for a very specific purpose: to end the killing in Gaza and to ensure humanitarian aid reaches the people of Gaza. Although Palestinians have rejected the plan, and this rejection is not mere rhetoric. The plan dilutes their sovereignty, forces disarmament, and hands their governance to outsiders. It prioritizes Israeli hostages over Palestinian refugees, Israeli security over Palestinian freedom. For Prime Minister Modi to celebrate this as sustainable peace is to ignore the anger on the ground. When Palestinians chant in the streets that Trump's plan is occupation with lipstick, does India's multilingual praise not sound tone deaf? Or worse, complicit? In the India statement, there was no mention of the two-state solution. It tells Palestinians that when the moment of truth came, India chose Trump over them. Can a country claim consistency when its loudest voice says one thing and its quiet policy says another? Prime Minister Modi's embrace of Trump also reflects a personal calculation. Both have been performing a diplomatic duet all year, praising each other, amplifying each other's initiatives, projecting friendship. Prime Minister Modi knows that Pakistan is lobbying hard in Washington, that China is watching closely, that India needs American cover in global conflicts. Congratulating Trump in 7 languages was not just about Gaza. It was about cementing personal rapport with the White House. But the cost of this rapport may be Palestine's trust. Can India have both Trump's friendship and Palestine's respect, or has it chosen one over the other? Let's bring this home. India's identity has always been that of rising power with moral weight, a nation that stood for justice in international crises, from apartheid South Africa to Palestinian self-determination. Prime Minister Modi's multilingual cheer for Trump makes India look less like a moral power and more like a strategic opportunist. Maybe that is the reality of 2025's hard geopolitics. But is it wise to trade away decades of credibility in one tweet storm? Is alignment with Trump worth the erosion of India's historical voice for Palestine? Let's just call it what it is. It's not just India, it's the entire Arab world. All of them have quietly buried decades-long commitment to the two-state solution. So it's not just diplomacy at its most dangerous, smiling at everyone while risking the loss of credibility with all. It is all these countries coming together when geopolitics reigns over every other interest and Trump speaks loudly with threats and with bullying. Thank you for watching Statecraft.